Hey, you wonderful earth science kids. This is Mr. Johansson, and today I'm just going to be doing a brief presentation on when you're doing topo maps, how do you find the gradient and the profile? All right, so let's take a look at this. If I have made a topographic map of an island in an ocean, well, if it's an island in an ocean, you know the outermost topographic line, contour line, must be at 0 feet. Okay? Here I have a contour interval that says 20 feet. That means the distance, the height distance between the next successive contour lines must be 20 feet. So if we start 0 feet here, what would that line be? Good, that's a 20-foot line. 40 foot, 60 foot, 80 foot. So what's the highest this mountain could be? Well, did we generate a 100-foot contour line? We did not. What's the highest we could have gone without generating a 100-foot contour line? Well, what's just before 100 feet? 99 feet. So the highest the island possibly could be, it would be 99 feet. All right, so first thing we want to do is find gradient. We want to find gradient along line A and B, and then find gradient along line C and D. So if we're going to do gradient, we take the reference tables, and we look under equations, and we see there is a formula for gradient. Gradient is change in field value divided by distance. So if I have a question that's asking me for gradient, it's going to tell me write down the formula, substitute with units, and solve. So I would write gradient equals change in field value, I can abbreviate a little bit, over distance. Now I substitute the numbers in. Along line A and B, well, what's the change in field value? We go from 0 to 80. So the change in field value is 80 feet. That would be 80 feet minus 0 feet, so it's 80 feet. And over what distance? Well, on the map somewhere, I have a key that shows how many miles per inch. In this case, it's 1 mile per 1 inch. Okay, and I could use my ruler, hold it up on a scale, and I could see that. So I measured now how many inches between A and B, and I see 1 inch. So 80 feet over, well, it's 1 inch per mile, so 80 feet over 1 mile gives you 80 feet per mile. That would actually be the gradient for this. I substituted with units, and then I solved, so I get full credit for that. What is the gradient between C and D? All right, I write my formula, and now it's going to be still 80 feet. But if I measure now, you can see C and D is definitely longer, and I see 4 inches. 4 inches on this would be the same as 4 miles. So 80 feet over 4 miles, when I do the division, that's 20 feet per mile. And if we look at this, if we were hiking from the sea to the top of the island, you can tell this is going to be a very steep path. You're very quickly crossing the contour intervals, so you're climbing up very quickly. Over C to D, it's a much gentler path. Could you do an even gentler path? Well, yes. You could climb in from here all the way up. That would be the gentlest of all. So gradient, just change in field value divided by distance. Now we want to talk about profiling. Now, to profile, that means looking at it from the side. So, say I had a boat out here, all right, and I wanted to look at this from the side. Well, if I draw a line perpendicular to that, I would cross through what I would be seeing from the boat, and I could make a profile from it. So, in order to do that, what I might want to do is take a piece of paper and make a grid on it. Now, what kind of grid am I making on it? Well, I'm going to make a grid that will allow me to do the maximum height of the island. So 0, 20, 40, 60, 80. I would make a grid going up to 100. And I can do that. I'm going to use a centimeter ruler. And if I put that centimeter ruler right at the bottom of the page, and every centimeter, doesn't have to be centimeters, but makes sense to do a grid like this. You can use lined paper as well. So I did 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. I have everything I need there. All right? And now I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. So my lines will all be evenly spaced. They will be nice parallel lines going across here. And you could draw a grid this easily. Certainly not a hard thing to do. Almost done. All right. Now I'm going to label it. 0 feet, 20 feet, 40 feet, 60 feet, 80 feet, and 100 feet. Notice it's a little higher than what I need. Okay? Now, I'm going to take a piece of paper, a little strip of paper, and I'm going to hold it right up to the side. And I'm going to use this strip of paper then, and I'm going to first mark my end lines, my 1 and my 2. All right? And this is going to be my 0 foot at 1. Make sure it's laid across. Where all of my lines cross the line that I'm using for profiling, and I have my strip of paper on, I mark their elevations. That's 20 feet. That's 40 feet. 60 feet. Right here is 80. Now, what's the next line? Well, I've come around again, so now I'm headed back down the hill. So that's 80 feet, 60, 40 feet. I'm going to mark every other line, 20 feet, and 0 feet. So now I have that data all on that strip of paper. If I hold that now at the bottom of the graph I made, and I mark 0 feet, then at the 20 foot, notice, why don't I make a mark at the 20 foot, on the 20 foot line, on the 40 foot? Make a mark on the 40 foot line, 60 foot. Here we go on the 60 foot line, 80 foot, back down to the 80 foot, and then we have the 60, we have the 40, we have the 20, and we have the 0 right there. And now connect all these lines with a smooth curving line, because we generally see landscapes that are smooth and curving. Now you're going to have to guess how high it is there. You don't have any data. All you know is that mountaintops are not flat, and so it's not going to go right up to the top and be flat there. It might go all the way up but not touch that 100-foot line. However you want to put it, that's up to you. We don't have data to tell you you're right or wrong. If you put a flat line across, we could tell you you're almost certainly wrong. So we'd actually take points off of that. But this would be a profile of that. So this is what this island would look like from the side. All right? Let's look at another one. If I did, this is a profile. On this island, you can see there's 2 mountains on this island. And if I do it the same way, I put my data in here. Okay, mark all the points. I have M at 0. Then I'd have, and notice the contour interval here is 10 feet. So I'd have 10, 20, 20, 10. I'm going back up again. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I might want to put a little top here so I know I went up and started down. Then I have 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 0. When I bring this down and I place this like this, I have this, right? So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and I went up above 50, did not get to 60. Now, one thing, notice, the contour interval on this island was 20, on this island was 10, but I've kept the grids the same distance apart. So can you see that by changing the distance the grid is, I can exaggerate the shape of this island. This island might not look anything like this. If I want to get closer to the shape, these grids might have to get closer together. So you can have a vertical exaggeration on these based on the height of the grids. But that's how you do a profile. That's how you do a gradient. Hey, thanks for listening. I hope this helped.